How is everyone doing today? And in this video, which I'm just going to be Silver Wolf today because I am not ready for the camera, but today's video specifically is going to be about our rerun character, which is going to be Sparkle, because yes, I know a lot of people are very excited either to pull for Gel Show, Sparkle, or even to save. There's just a lot of different topics out there right now when it comes to who's worth it in regards to the Stellar Jades, because we have a lot of crazy characters coming out soon, whether it be for Sparkle and Gel Show, really good support slash debuffers, or it goes into Fei Xiao and Ling Xiao, where they could honestly be crazy on their own as well, and something we can also wait for, of course, but we'll talk about that later. But before we get into all that, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, all the different type of stuff, and let me know if you are excited to summon on Sparkle. Let me know if you're looking for Gel Show, or maybe even waiting for more 5 stars in the future. But let's go ahead and start talking about Sparkle, because Sparkle specifically, like I said, is in a very interesting situation when it comes to her and the current meta we are in at the current moment. Of course, from what she's able to do by herself, she's actually able to give an attack percentage boost to quantum characters. She can give a crit damage buff to one specific character while also advancing them forward by a certain amount, which is 50%. So you're not guaranteed to be at the top of the action line, but if you do have a high speed Sparkle, then it is very possible to keep it consistent with being almost 100% advanced forward. Going to the next one is going to be a full-on damage boost and also regaining skill points as a part of her ultimate. And then not only that, she also has a passive where she's able to just straight up give you the extra skill points added onto your skill bar. So instead of 5, it's going to be 7, and that's a pretty huge deal, especially for certain characters in this game. But with all of those things, it sounds pretty broken for the most part with how Sparkle works. She's able to give skill points, she breaks the skill point barrier, she's able to give an attack boost, damage boost, crit damage boost like crazy. But why is she not used all the time? And that's the thing I want to talk about today, because right now it feels like the hyper carry meta, or what Sparkle is supposed to be known for, which is for hyper carry, just isn't doing so well at the moment, just because there's been so much support for other characters as of late. One of them specifically, of course, being the follow-up team with its absolutely monstrous amount of additions to the roster, or the monstrous amount of additions to the team ever since the follow-up team came to life. Whenever Topaz came out, we were waiting for her character that we were able to get other units that would synergize with her. Now we have characters like Dr. Ratio, who is single-handedly one of the better free units that we've had, and also a very strong one to add with Topaz. We also have someone like Jade, we have someone like REHOO, who helps a lot. Not only that, we also have characters like Robin, who absolutely have been killing it with giving the support to the follow-up team. So now basically they are basically a full-on nasty team together. And then not only that, leaving the sustain out of the way, we have Aventurine, which he's absolutely broken. We all know it. He's a god tier unit. He's able to do so much for the team, not only boosting Numby forward, but also with all the follow-ups going on with not only Dr. Ratio, with possibly Jade and Topaz. He's able to give off more shield. He's able to give off his effect res. He's able to give off almost never getting hit, and that's absolutely nasty work. And not only that, he can do his own damage as well if you have him built a certain way. So follow-up right now has been killing him. They're probably one of the strongest teams at the current moment. And then let's not forget about the true reigning king at the current moment, which is the break teams, which is centered around Firefly, Boo Hill, and also of course the supports for that team, which are going to be Ruan Mei and I was about to say Ruan Mei, HMC, Gallagher, and what we can assume Ling Xiao is going to be, which is the 5-star equivalent to Gallagher. The break team is just now getting started as well, and they're starting to get their premium units. I still do think Gallagher, which might be Ling Xiao's direct support, and then same thing with HMC, we're probably going to see a premium version of them as well to be able to give the break team a little bit more love. Now, with this being said, with the break team, the follow-up team, there are some archetypes that are, I guess you could say, fading away in terms of how much support they've been getting. One of them definitely being, also of course Acheron, but the problem with Acheron is that she really wants nihility units on the team, so she kind of breaks the general game plan of a hyper carry team. So she kind of takes away that spot from having Sparkle on the team, and this lowers the amount of characters that actually want Sparkle on it. We are going to talk about characters that specifically do want Sparkle for the most part, and if you are huge mains of this character, then maybe for the most part you might want to get her. But I still want to talk about all the teams that are currently out at the moment to show why Sparkle is falling through right now in terms of power and viability with a lot of these teams that are coming out. Like we said before, follow-up right now is getting built up, break is getting built up, Acheron really wants 2 nihilities unless you have E2, and even at that, Dot Karan is probably still one of the craziest teammates in the game, or some of the craziest teams of the game, with Kafka and Black Swan. And then Jiaosho's coming out soon, so that's another slot that's going to be taken by another character on that team. Not only that, Dot itself doesn't really need an action advanced forward character. Kafka, Black Swan, Ho-Ho, all these characters are really good for it. The problem is right now we don't have any new Dot units besides Jiaosho, and I don't know if Jiaosho is going to be absolutely there for the Dot team. We can try it out when he comes out, but right now Dot is also in a similar position where their power is declining compared to all the other archetypes that are currently getting supported. But for the most part, Dot is by itself, and then all you have left realistically is going to be the hyper carry teams with the traditional DPSs in the game. Now, the other problem with Sparkle, of course, and I'm not saying that she's a bad character, because overall she has a lot of redeeming qualities, but the problem is that there are two things that mess her up for a good bit. One of them being, of course, the archetype of teams that don't necessarily need her, which we just listed a lot of characters. Not only that, there's also a substitute for her, which is going to be Bronya. A lot of people already have Bronya, and Bronya, especially if you have E1, which I know we're super far in the game, so some people may have this. I'm not going to expect everyone to have it, but still overall, a lot of teams can function very well with Bronya alone. So that's one reason why some people might not want Sparkle, specifically because they already have her lower power variant, but you are given consistency with not needing a crazy fast Bronya. You only need to have your Bronya come up a couple of times and you're guaranteed the 100% advanced forward, so you are the first character on the list no matter what. So that is a pretty big deal for Bronya specifically, and she also does give the crit damage buff, which is pretty nice as well, and an attack percentage buff, which is really good. And then to go into the characters that really do want Sparkle for the most part, is only really two really when it comes to what exactly we're looking for in a teammate for Sparkle that is 100% going to take everything that she's able to provide and actually use it and not have to sacrifice one thing or another to place her on the team. And those two characters realistically right now are going to be people that love Dan Heng, because as we all know, Dan Heng is very skill point intensive, with him needing to have 3 skill points for his max damage, and that is going to be a big deal for him, because not only are you giving him the damage boost, but you're also going to be giving him those extra skill points. Sparkle is able to regenerate 4, which is a pretty big thing because this allows for Dan Heng, including his ultimate as well, to be able to get as many skill points and save as many as you can. That way you're not strapped for skill points when you are trying to get your healer to heal, when you're trying to get your supports to do what they need to do. You're able to have a comfortable playstyle with someone like Dan Heng, which is a pretty good thing. Another character that is going to absolutely love having Sparkle on the team is going to be Sele as well. And more so Sele on the Mono Quantum team, or just overall Sele teams in general. I do say Mono Quantum because Sparkle does have a trace that makes it so that you get a higher attack boost if you have more quantum type allies, so that's a pretty good thing to have in regards to her kit. But Sele also skill point intensive whenever she pops her resurgence, whenever she does her skill into resurgence, into ultimate, into resurgence combo. This is also skill point intensive, so something like extra skill points, breaking that skill point barrier, a lot of really good things that come with Sparkle and can help out someone like Sele. There is another character that can use her. I don't know if it's 100% needed for the most part, but someone like, if I can find him, which is Jing Yuan, is also someone I've seen people use Sparkle with someone like Ting Yun, with someone like Ho-Ho, maybe even Fushun and Aventurine. It's a lot of different combinations this guy has. I think Jing Yuan is by far some of the most buffed up characters in this game, specifically just because of how many characters work with him. It's just that he does have his best in slot team, but it's funny how many actually do work with him. But Sparkle is a potential grab for Jing Yuan as well. So if you play Jing Yuan, if you play Dan Heng specifically, and if you play Sele, then Sparkle might be a good pick. Otherwise, right now, if you want a general answer for is Sparkle still worth it, right now a lot of teams are being built up. A lot of teams are getting crazy additions to their roster, with Break already taking reign over the meta right now. We also have follow-up with how absurd they are, with Robin specifically because of how strong she is. And then right now for hyper carry, or for Dot, they're also in a situation where they just don't have many new units that have these crazy new mechanics that lets them do damage off turn, that lets them do some crazy brute force type of mechanic. You also have someone like Acheron, who doesn't really need Sparkle because she really does want that second agility unit, just because she has that trace where she wants to have a second agility unit, which is a pretty big thing and something that is kind of crazy to see that someone like Sparkle, with how great she was beforehand, she's really restricted to the certain types of teams that she wants, and the certain types of teams that she wants. The hyper carry meta right now is just not the best place in the game, especially with the rise of nihility units like someone like Silverwolf, like someone like Pella, especially with characters like Jiao Shou in the future. These characters are a little bit more broad, they're a little bit more widened, and the usability they can be done with in terms of teams that they can be on. So hyper carry specifically don't need to run double harmony. They can rock double nihility, they can rock one nihility and then one harmony, and that makes room for all the different supports in the game, whether it be Bronya, Ting Yun, Sparkle, Ruan Mei, all these other supports in the game. Sparkle has to fight against these characters. So right now, I think the best bet when it comes to looking at which character specifically to summon on, when it comes to is Sparkle worth it or not, let's wait until the reruns of next patch get shown, whether it be some crazy type of deal with, let's say, Robin or something like that, or maybe having other supports, or maybe even DPSs. We see how the DPSs work, and we see that, well, these guys don't work with Sparkle either, so maybe it might not be the best choice to go ahead and grab her. So we'll definitely see when the stream happens. Not only that, we do get drip marketing this part of the patch as well, so this will allow us to understand and know, is Sparkle going to be needed, is Sparkle going to be wanted. Of course, for those that really like her personality, that really like her character, go ahead and grab her. She's a cool character overall. She's not going to be a complete like, oh, you bricked your account if you grab her, but there are specific teams that you might want to be invested in or really like if you're going to be picking up Sparkle. For the most part, I do think everyone should wait for the stream, and everyone should wait for the drip marketing to see what exactly you want specifically with your Jades, especially if you're a low spender or free to play. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to Sparkle. Other than that, that's a really nice character. Has limited teams right now. Sadly, is just fighting for her spot in a bunch of different ways, and a lot of the ways that we're getting built up is especially the archetypes having their own dedicated support, having very restricted and niche kits, which is kind of making it hard for anybody else to slip through those team compositions and give those associated buffs for what she would want. And of course, the fact that she has a lesser variant that can be almost as consistent and a little harder to pilot because the lack of skill point regeneration is still a really good overall option. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll tell you the video. See y'all guys in the next one, and peace.